Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Let's go back to the Minnesota game and talk about our players of the week. Offensively was Justin Jackson. I think his career obviously speaks for itself. Second player in Big Ten history with 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I think it's just him and Ron Dane. I didn't tackle Ron very well, so that puts him in pretty rare air, and I think only the 9th player all-time in FBS history to reach that milestone. So just a special day for him. One of our seniors going out on Ryan Field and having a career day was awesome. And the same thing with our big playmaker and Garrett Dickerson. I thought those were 2 big-time catches in the red zone in a wet day. I thought those were big plays by him for both those touchdowns. Nate Hall is not only our defensive player of the week, but also the Big Ten player of the week, very active throughout the game on Saturday and played really well. Our big playmakers were our 2 guys inside, Lancaster and Thompson. Both those guys were dominant. Lancaster was 9 of 9 at the point of attack, and I think Thompson was 6 out of 6. That was a pretty spectacular game by those 2 guys. And then Hunter Nice-Wonder had a great day. I thought our snaps and his holding and the punting, in that type of weather, I thought he handled it really well. Our 3 practice players were Heath Reineke on offense, Mark Gooden on defense, and then Joe Bergen on special teams. And then consequently, Joe Bergen has a great game during the game. He had 2 tackles in special teams. So, all in all, like I said, after the game, I went back and watched the tape Saturday after the seniors and their families left after our reception, and I came away with it even more impressed by the way our guys played. I think we dominated both sides of the line of scrimmage as well as we have maybe in any game in a long time. And, I thought the guys prepared the right way and then obviously started the game the way we needed to. And we were able to get a lot of guys in. It was really neat to see some of the young men that work so hard in practice every day get a chance to get out there and reap the benefits of that investment to get out on the field. So very happy for them. Big week for us this week. Obviously, first and foremost, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. We have a ton to be thankful for. Our last great opportunity with our seniors to play a Big Ten game. Take on our rival down in Champaign will be a challenge for us from a standpoint of I know Coach Smith and his staff are doing a great job. He's a great friend. I root for him every game, obviously except for one. But he's putting together the plan to build a program and playing a lot of young guys, as many maybe as we've seen all year. And they've stayed the course with their plan, and that's what great coaches do, and he and his staff are outstanding coaches. Obviously, there's some flux there at quarterback, so we'll have to prepare for multiple guys there. And, I think they've got really good team speed, and they're really physical. They're just young. But you throw the records out in a rivalry game, everybody's kind of in that mode this week across the country. It's a fun week in college football. It's a challenging week for everybody, and hopefully we'll put together a great week and bring it with us down to Champaign. So with that, how about some questions, please?
Coach, you've got rivalries with Iowa. You have a rivalry with Wisconsin. Is this still, in your opinion, the biggest rival you have? And if so, why? And why does it stay?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is truly, from a trophy game, this is our lone rivalry. This is the only one that matters for us. To fight for the Land of Lincoln Trophy. It means the world to our program, and our guys. When we look at this game, this is one of the games that we talk about in training camp, and then we kind of put it aside and we bring it back up. Today, it's I think again a rivalry built on respect. I've been a part of it now for a long time. I've been 4 as a player now, 18 on staff. It's 22 years I've been a part of it, and I think both programs have a ton of respect for each other. I know there's some other rivalries that are a little bit different than that, and I don't think it diminishes from it. I think it actually is something that I think both schools should take pride in. The fact that we respect each other so well. And usually you just throw the records out, and it's a heck of a competition.
Pat, the way the season started, if someone had told you that right now you'd be on your biggest win streak in over 20 years, what would you have said, and what's been the biggest improvement since then?
Well, I'd say the guys focused on what was important, and that was preparing. And, they shut the noise off of negativity, focused on what we could control. And then I think the biggest change has just maybe been probably our consistency up front on both sides of the ball, especially offensively. I think we've played much better up front maybe the last, 2 months than we did in the first month. And, I think that credit obviously goes to the young men and to Cush. I think that group has really, really improved this year. It's been fun to watch.
Silly question, but could you be outside for 3 or 4 hours with short sleeves on a day like last Saturday? How do you think that would affect you?
Yeah, I'm not tough enough to do that. That's for guys like Spanos. Yeah, no, we've had like a head cold rolling around the house for like the last 2 months. And I'm trying to just shake it. I'm not yelling more than normal. I'm not going through puberty again. I've been battling a head cold. So it's, Saturday I was sweating. I was great. I was happy. I looked at Spanos and I'm like, man, you're an idiot. Put some clothes on, man. But he's got a lot of juice. He's like I said after the game, he's part of our secret sauce. That group of strength coaches are phenomenal, and they do a great job.
How'd the O-line grade out, first of all?
Say that again.
How did the O-line grade out? Grade out.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I really don't care about grades. I'm not one of those head coaches that, you have to have this grade to have a good game, because every coach grades it differently. I'm more concerned about point of attack grades, and is one of our better days across the board with that group. Again, I think that group has improved. I just think they've taken it upon themselves to work really hard, and it's been fun to watch. I'm really happy for them because they were, rightfully so. They were inconsistent early, but, I think they've settled down and played pretty well.
You've said often this year about this group that they own the locker room. Why is that important, and how much easier does that make your job?
It's critically important. Anytime the young men own the squad inside, that's what we try to build here. A program that's run from the locker room out. And every team is different, Skip. It's not, I wish I had this like magic wand and said, if we do this, it works. In some years we've, like this year, we've had phenomenal leadership. Other years, we get some injuries with some older guys, and it's been good. Not one time have I felt like it's been bad, but it's been good. And so, terrific job. I mean, it's been really fun to watch. I think it starts in 2 rooms this year. I think it starts in the D-line room. I think that group comes every day ready to rock, ready to get better, ready to improve. And I also feel that way about the running back room. I've been really impressed with that room the whole off season. I thought they had a great off season, and it's carried over. And maybe Johnny and Jesse and Corey and Austin aren't getting a ton of touches per se, but that whole group's involved heavily in the kicking game. And then Lark and JJ are getting, most of the touches. So, that group has been highly productive this year. It's been fun to watch.
Does that kind of peer pressure, though, help? Other coaches have talked about when players own the locker room, it provides peer pressure.
Yeah.
And they don't have to listen to your voice.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah. Well, peer pressure is probably in our feeling society today, probably something I shouldn't talk about, right? It's not nice now. Yeah, I know, but I get all these emails, so I got to make sure I follow the proper protocols. Hell yeah, it's important. It's the only thing that matters. If you can hold your teammate accountable by doing the right things yourself, you've got a strong squad. You've got a fist. You got an opportunity to go battle, and when you don't have it, you have no chance. It's critically important. But those are the types of guys that we try to recruit. We try to recruit leaders in high school. And my hope is that we can recruit multi-sport leaders. And I really like it when you got guys that are, obviously great football players that we think are going to come here to help compete, to help us win championships, but then maybe role players in other sports, and learn what it's like to maybe be the 6th or 7th guy in the basketball team, or maybe be a rotational baseball player, or, track guy that's not the 100-meter dash winner. Obviously, I'd love to have more of those, but, I think the more that you have to be just an all-around athlete and be an all-around teammate, when you get to this level, it gets hard. Guaranteed, it's going to get hard. For some guys, it's early in their career, or this is the first time they've been in a competitive situation. We were just talking in our leadership council meeting. How about this? Patty Fisher goes, I go, what did you learn this year? He goes, man, this is a grind. My high school, I only usually played like 2 or 3 or maybe 4 on a given year, full games. We're usually done at halftime. Yeah, and look at the year that he's having. This is the first time that he's had to play every game for 4 quarters. I mean, Saturday didn't play the 4th quarter, but that to me is what we're looking for. Guys are that type of attitude, that type of work ethic, that type of demeanor. And I think if you get a collection of those types of guys, you got a chance to have something special.
Just to go a little further, when you have those kind of guys, does that free you up not to have to worry about discipline and that kind of stuff, and just let them coach, if you will?
I wish it was that easy. They're doing a great job. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, the other aspects are always going to be there because I'm dealing with 112, 17 to 22-year-olds. Yeah, it's a joy. It's a privilege.
Coach, sticking on the leadership team, on a pretty young defense, you have a couple of seniors at safety. What has their leadership been role, Kyle and Godwin's?
Yeah, well, you guys know, I mean, you've been seeing it all year. We've had a lot of different substitutions and different guys playing in the back end, and I think the two, constants have been Kyle and Godwin. And then we don't have Godwin to start the Maryland game, right? And we lose him for a little bit of the Penn State game. They've been phenomenal. They both have come a long way from a standpoint of learning to be the leaders that they're capable of. Both, I think, were very well prepared in high school, but different, more lead by example guys. And now as they've gotten older, they've seen they have to be more than that for us to be consistent in the back end. And I think they've done just a phenomenal job.
And then on the field on Saturday, the field was pretty muddy. Where did that rank among the sloppier conditions you played on?
Yeah, no, I thought the field played great. Yeah, no, I thought, I looked at some tape. I do some studies on Mondays around the league, and I thought our field, the grass fields, held up as well as anybody's with the weather that we had. I thought it was great. But, yeah, it was definitely a factor just because you're playing that type of weather. It's tough to do anything, let alone, have proper footing on grass.
Pat, if it were to happen, what would it mean to get this team to 10 wins for the second time in 3 years, and what would that say about where the program's at?
Well, let's talk about that down the road. I think our focus right now is the task at hand, and that's to go 1-0 Saturday, and to get going on our process of getting prepared for that. That's where our focus is going to be. Especially for us where we're at right now, to have to take on our rival, I think is something that's a great motivator for our guys. And I think they'll be very focused, and they'll be disciplined throughout their preparation this week. But that's when you're kind of in season mode, man, you're like a horse in a race. You just got your blinders on, and you're not looking to the right and to the left. You're just looking ahead and hopefully sticking to your process.
I know Illinois definitely building for the future, but they've lost 9 in a row. What do you think has been the problem for them this year?
Well, again, when you start your preparation on film study, you don't look at problems. You look at the issues that you got to do to stop them and then be able to gain a yard, and then what you got to do in the kicking game. So I see really good team speed. I see a very physical defense that's well coordinated. Offensively, they've had a lot of injuries. And so, Coach McGee's had to have multiple quarterbacks. He's had to kind of morph his system to that position because it's really important you play to that position strength, right? And then they've had a lot of injuries on the outside in the backfield. But you see a lot of young talent, and you see their seniors and their older guys playing hard. They ran into a buzzsaw last week. I mean, Ohio State played unbelievable in the first quarter. I mean, they played just incredible football. I think it was 21-0, and Illinois only had like 7 or 8 plays. So I just think they ran into a tough situation there. But, we've kind of followed them a little bit in the schedule, so to speak. So when you're getting your cut-ups ready, you've seen a team, I think, that I know it hasn't shown up on the win-loss column, but I've seen a team that's definitely improved from a standpoint of there's just a lot of new faces out there every game. And, I thought they had an opportunity to win the Minnesota game. They had an opportunity to win the Rutgers game. The list kind of go Indiana game, here in the last month. They just fallen on the short end.
When you talk about preparing for multiple quarterbacks, can you describe the differences between those guys and how it affects your planning?
Well, Cam's a true dual threat young man, that they can do a lot of different things with. Obviously with that being their first quarterback that they recruited, so to speak, as a staff, then you get a pretty good inclination that's the direction they want to go for the future. Really impressed, and I saw Coach Smith's comments about Chase. Lost a battle, moved to super back that we call it, their H-back position, and because injuries went back last week. I mean, what a great teammate. And, Jeff has played a lot throughout the year too, and been really impressed with his throws. Reminded me last year of getting ready for Wes. Wes had a big arm, and I think Jeff does too. So, and then Ricky Smalling's a great player. We knew about Ricky when he was, I think, a freshman at Brother Rice. Dynamic player, very, very talented young man. So, they've got a lot of different weapons. The Dorsey kid, the young tight end, has made a lot of big plays too. He's a really impressive athlete.
Going back to Nate Hall and him winning Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, when you look back at the tape, was there anything that stuck out in terms of him being able to get in the defensive backfield?
Yeah, kind of a garbage man. I mean, there's 3 players, two of the 3 sacks. It was scheme. He was unblocked. Congratulations, thanks, Hank. That worked out pretty well. Interception was a garbage pick. I mean, it was a tip ball that fell into his hands. He should have taken a knee instead of losing 2 yards. Yeah, that's all right. I played with a great player named Barry Gardner that was a garbage man too. He had all kinds of plays that were just nothing other than just, hey, congratulations, look what just fell into your lap. No, he played great. He played real physical. He was really active. He's having a great year. Those 3 guys are having an outstanding. Randy Bates has done a great job with those backers. I mean, Patty's a pup. Warren moving over. I thought Warren played his best game of the year on defense on Saturday. Nate gets player of the week, but, I really think the guy that's had a phenomenal season is Brett Walsh, senior that is playing the best football of his career. He didn't practice last week, so he was very limited, and he got better kind of midday Thursday. And Friday I said, how you feeling? He goes, I'm starting. I said, okay, I guess you're starting. Sounds good. And he was not going to be denied playing on senior day. And he played, like most of our starters, played 3 quarters. And I thought he played another outstanding game.
J.R. Pace has played a little bit here and there, but it seemed like with Jared out last week, kind of had a bigger role. What have you seen from him that's kind of allowed him to be prominent there in the back end?
Well, he's had opportunity because of injury, first of all. And, I think he's played pretty solid in the kicking game all season. I think, again, like a lot of our young players, is learning how to become a Big Ten football player. I think the sky's the limit for J.R. Pace. He can run. He's athletic. He's got a high football IQ. He's got great ball skills, as we've all already seen. He's just, byproduct of his, the reason why he's playing is injury, first of all, but then the positive byproduct for the future is the experience that he's getting, especially with us graduating Godwin and Kyle. So it's going to be important for the future, no doubt.
Coach, it's very noticeable that Nate Hall is making a lot of open field tackles. And it seems, I know tackling is all attitude, but under today's conditions, when sometimes you feel like you might be limited on how hard you can go in practice from a real physical tackling standpoint, aside from preaching attitude, how have you gotten your defense to really tackle so well this year?
Yeah, well, the credit goes to Hank and the defensive staff for the planning. I mean, we tackle every day. I mean, there's certain things that we talk about every day as a defense. One's tackling, the other's creating turnovers. But the tackling circuit that we go through daily in practice, and then, our guys are expected to thud the ball carrier on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The ball is not to run through our defense. And I just think you have to teach the skill of tackling every day. It doesn't mean there has to be contact every day, but you have to teach it. We teach it every day in the offseason with the footwork drills that we do. And you're right, it's an attitude first, but more importantly, fundamentally taking the right angles, having the right body position, putting your eyes and putting your upper body in the right position to be able to make sure you're staying healthy and safe, and then wrapping and running your feet on contact. And that's the one thing I think we've done a really good job of this year is we've been really good, in our lower body tackling. We've had great base. We've been really aggressive And then when we've missed, which you're going to miss if you're aggressive, I think we've had great population to the ball. We've had great effort to the ball. And we haven't given up a lot of explosive plays because of missed tackles.
Respect the blinders. Do have one big picture question for you. Always been curious. Do you get involved at all when Jim Phillips is thinking about, okay, which bowl game we're trying to get into? Are you consulted? Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, Jim and I talk daily. Well, it's maybe every other hour. No, I'm joking. No, we talk a lot. I mean, it might not be daily, but it's frequently during the week about a lot of things. And he is all in. He's heavily invested in our program, as all of our administrators are, but especially him. I mean, he's all in. Have we talked about that to this point? No. And that's usually in our time together, something that we have not discussed until after the last game. But he's relentless. I'll just put it to you that way. Relentless. I'm sure you could talk to any of the folks that we've gone to from a bowl standpoint. For Mr. Holtzman last year and his staff to going, you name it. Jim McVay he's relentless, and we're just very thankful for that type of support.
You guys have had some bowls that kind of set up very poorly, like you're playing Texas A&M in Houston or Texas Tech in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Do you end up looking at that? Like, are you just trying to get in the best one possible? Are you trying to get a good matchup?
For me personally, I only care about the players. I truly only care about the experience that our guys are going to have. So the better we can make it for them, the better off I think their motivation is going to be to play in that game, and then their motivation is going to be to want to go back to bowl games. I expect it to be fun. I want it to be fun. I want it to be rewarding. I want them to feel like they've accomplished something special. I was in this program for 2 years as a player, and then obviously the generations of guys before me that didn't have the privilege to go play in the postseason. And it's hard-earned, and I want it to be fun, and that's why we do a bowl week here for the guys, and then we do, obviously, the bowl week festivities at the site. So we got a great week planned for them already. It's kind of cool. Last year it was tough because it took us all the way to the end of the year. But being done prior to November 1, I think Cody Shada and our staff there have done a great job putting together a great deal for them that he showed me. But it's just, hey, Coach, here's what we're thinking, and then I look at it starting next week.
And then there was a trend where guys who think they're going to get picked in the first round sit out the bowl. I don't think you have any guys in that position, but do you have a general philosophy about that? If a running back is, say, has a minor injury, do you feel like the guy should always play? What's your thought?
Well, I deal with all those on a case-by-case basis with the guys. I would give them perspective. I would give them just some wisdom. You get very few opportunities to play this game, and very few, if any, are guaranteed. And when you get to be my age, there's no going back. There's no, I guess I got one more season in the NFL, but gosh, I missed the whatever bowl or I missed whatever postseason game. No, I can say that sitting where I'm at. And that's why I say I take it on a case-by-case basis because you guys know me. I would fully support our guys. If that was a decision that he and his family made, I would be disappointed for him because he would lose an opportunity to play with his teammates. But I would respect it because I'm sure that they fully vetted it from a standpoint of that's what they feel is right for his future and for their family. And then I'd get the next guy ready to go kick some ass. And I wouldn't bat an eye about it. And if that young man wanted to go on the trip, I'd let him go on the trip. And I'd tell him, guess what you get to do now? You get to come sit up here and talk to the media and explain why you decided not to play, because that's part of this growing up process too. You guys have made a decision. I'm going to support you, but you better get ready to explain why you're doing it. And then you got to go look at your teammates eye to eye and say, this is a decision that I've made and why I've made it. And like our guys, I know our guys in the locker room would support him. Would they be disappointed? Yeah, because he's usually probably going to be a really good player for you, right? But at the same time, I think our guys would respect the decision.
Pat, how close do you feel this program is to winning a division, and what's it going to take to get to that next step?
Yeah. winning. Yeah, I think we're really close. I mean, we don't hide away from what our goals are, and that's to win the Big Ten West and win the Big Ten. I mean, it's right there to your guys' left. It's posted everywhere. I think we're in the conversation. We got to knock the door down. We obviously didn't do that to start the year, but we didn't pout. We didn't feel sorry for ourselves. Guys got banged up. We didn't look at oh no, the sky's falling. The leadership on his team took it upon themselves to go out and practice and get better and improve. What's it going to take? Just coaching the guys better, playing better, continue to recruit and get competitive depth, because that competition is what makes guys better. And then when you do have injuries, you've got enough holes to plug guys in. I mean, the amount of injuries we've got in our secondary right now, if I go back to when I got here 18 years ago as an assistant, we would have been in big trouble. Big trouble. And where we're at now, next man up, and the guy steps up and he goes and he plays his heart out. So, I think we're close, but close isn't good enough, and we just got to keep grinding.
Do you look at that? Do you look at it as like, how do we get ahead of Wisconsin? Is that kind of where you set the bar there?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to assume every team in our league is going to do everything they can to win a championship. I assume that we're going to play everybody and we're going to get their A game. I assume we're going to play in a hostile environment everywhere we play. So you take those assumptions and you put them over there and you focus on yourself and what we can control. We got a lot of excitement going on right now. We're recruiting great. We got the #1 graduation rate in the country. Our guys are killing it academically, and I'm very proud of them for that. One of our bowl week plans, we'll go down to Catholic Charities and help Father Watts and everyone down there to feed the homeless. It's one of our traditions. They're incredibly generous with their time. We're trying to win the canned food drive here in the athletic department. They're awesome guys, and they're doing an amazing job. And we're winning football games, and we're about to go into, you could argue, the best facility in the country. And then we'll get Walsh Ryan done and get that done and get going on Ryan Field. There's a lot of momentum and a lot of excitement, and I'm fired up for this game, and I'm incredibly motivated and excited for the future.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Oh, yeah, one more. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Last one. Because we got kids that need to get to class.
Sorry.
Class.
Quick.
Class.
It's almost holiday time. Last year, you told us what your favorite holiday song was. This year, I was wondering if you could give us your favorite holiday movie, if you have one.
Holiday movie? Yeah, it's easy, man. It's Home Alone. Right? Come on. That's, that's it. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. Go Cats.